Good evening. It was not a household name until a disaster happened, and since then, Benghazi has become a lightning rod, a rallying cry, a highly charged partisan issue. But most of all, it was a tragedy. The night 16 months ago, on the 9/11 anniversary, when 4 Americans were killed, including our ambassador to Libya. It's back in the news tonight because of a scathing report just issued by the Senate Intelligence Committee. It says the deaths could have been prevented by better security, better communication. And the State Department, they say, gets most of the blame. It's where we begin tonight with our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, in our D.C. newsroom. Andrea, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. 16 months after that terror attack that killed 4 Americans, including a U.S. ambassador, the Senate Intelligence Committee has categorically blamed the State Department for ignoring multiple warnings and failing to provide adequate security. Benghazi, Libya, 9/11, 2012. The month and day alone should have set off alarms, but didn't. The report says the attacks that killed the 4 Americans, including Ambassador Chris Stevens, were preventable. In fact, hundreds of intelligence reports in prior months had warned militias and terrorists and affiliated groups had the capability and intent to strike U.S. and Western facilities and personnel in Libya.
The intelligence was really ample. I had an opportunity to review it myself.
Was it the State Department that should have ramped up the security with all these warnings, the CIA, or both?
It's the State Department that's responsible for the security of our missions and embassies.
The report says the CIA increased security at its annex a mile from the diplomatic mission. The State Department did not.
They needed more security measures. They needed more personnel. All of that was ignored.
A major new finding, Ambassador Stevens declined 2 specific offers from African Command General Carter Ham for more military support. And the report says the Pentagon, whose closest fighter jets were more than 5 hours away, was not prepared to respond to the attacks. Committee Republicans also issued a blistering attack on former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who last year tried to rebut charges of a cover-up.
What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator.
But the Republican committee members categorically blamed Clinton, writing, "At the end of the day, she was responsible for ensuring the safety of all Americans serving in our diplomatic facilities. Her failure to do so clearly made a difference in the lives of the 4 murdered Americans and their families." That will be fodder for any presidential campaign.
As she herself says, the buck stops at the top, and she was in charge of the State Department at the time.
Hillary Clinton's office referred all questions back to the State Department, which tonight told NBC News, "We are focused on improving the security of our embassies. We'll leave politics to others." Brian?
Andrea Mitchell starting us off from D.C. tonight. Andrea, thanks.